Hello, future viewers! Welcome back to Gratuitous Space Battles. I'm Regdrin.
And I'm Stone of Triumph, or so I'm told.
Let's go to Fleet HQ and spend some of the stuff that we got last time.
Okay, so when you start a game, you have a bunch of modules that are locked down, and you spend your currency you get from winning battles on these things.
Yes, there's a lot of things.
This is also how you buy new races to use.
Yes, and we're going to unlock one right now for use next time, and give the proper description and backstory with all of the dignity that they deserve.
Yep.
I'm going to get a cruiser plasma launcher because the heavy ones are too inaccurate. And speaking of which, a bit of extra aiming stuff as well. In fact, there's a lot to talk about here. Well, I think we'll go over it as we use it in our new ships. One thing I think we really do need, though, is a carrier support base so that we can actually repair our fighters.
I never use those.
Powered armor is also nice.
I always use that.
Indeed.
Though the first thing I usually buy on a new file is the reinforced reactor.
Yeah. Although I tend to go for the purple beam fairly early as well. Also, automatic point defenses are a bit too expensive, and the eye point defenses are pretty much a joke item. But the cruiser point defense system, this is kind of a staple. It's less power consuming than the scrambler beam, I think.
Yeah. Though I get much more utility out of the scrambler.
And there's a couple of other things here that we will cover in our commercial break. Don't worry, we will get to that. And that just about covers the buying for now. I'm going to do the purchasing off-screen from now on, but just bear in mind...
We are buying things.
We are unlocking stuff as we clear stuff. Now, the next battle. The Lagoon Nebula.
Oh, hey, something weird about this place.
Yes. And not just that we're fighting a different enemy race, but take a look at the spatial anomalies. Shield strength of all ships reduced by 50%.
And we can't use fighters.
That is the more drastic part. No fighters whatsoever. Because of that, we are going to remove fighter defensives from our cruisers because there aren't going to be any. Now, mostly our fighter defense was fielding our own fighters. However...
we can't do that, but they can't either.
Yes, well, our pulse cruisers do have an anti-fighter weapon right here, so I'm going to replace that.
But with what?
With what indeed? Well, can't go wrong with more pulse weapons, except that you can. So I'm going to replace that with a fast missile launcher to even out the power and other requirements. Fast missile launchers have a pretty good chance of hitting, and this is far back along the ship, so I shouldn't run into too many minimum range issues. But these are the sorts of little tweaks that you're going to go through when you take a look at those pesky spatial anomalies. Also, I'm not going to remove or even lower the number of shield generators I have, even though they're at less strength than usual, because their resistance is the same, and the enemy design seems to kind of assume that our shields will be super weak, so they're going to bring a lot of beam lasers. We want to fend those off.
But do we?
I think it would be a good idea. Well, I dealt with normal off-camera, since that's just normal. But
so, we are going to do things the hard way from now on.
Yes. We are going to bring in some of those plasma frigates for... the artillery that we're not going to use with our missile cruisers because, well, that's a little boring. Fielding all cruisers is not really my thing.
So are you gonna attach those frigates to any of your cruisers?
No, these stay pretty far out because they're using plasma weapons and they stay at range for that, and most of my other ships are closer range than that.
Okay.
I do, however, have a couple of precautions set. You see, these pulse cruisers are set to target enemy frigates first, and this is important because their frigates will go after ours.
Correct.
With beam lasers. We want to prevent that. The good news is that pulse cruisers rip up enemy frigates that go too far forward.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty fast about that. Now, the enemy has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cruisers to our 5, and we're outnumbered with frigates as well, so...
I believe in you.
Well, no, this is optimal play. Undercutting the budget is the most important thing in the game, after all. I'm just wondering if I can get away with 2 pulse cruisers instead of 3, or maybe a little bit less plasma frigate.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. That's the general motto of gratuitous space battles.
Yeah, the thing is, among the gratuitous games, this is probably the best of them.
How would you rank them?
I'd rank them this, gratuitous tank battles, and then space battles too.
We've already gone over some of the many problems with gratuitous space battles too, but could you tell me a little bit about the problems with tank battles?
Well, the problem with tank battles
Look at all those beams. Go ahead.
The problem with tank battles is that its unlock system is not as rewarding as it is in gratuitous space battles.
Ah, that's a shame.
So, meanwhile, we've already destroyed all of their frigates.
Yeah, that didn't take very long. They kind of made a beeline for our artillery frigates, but they are not fast enough. You need to make your frontline frigates really fast if they're going to survive cruiser attacks.
So meanwhile,
looks like we've got into the cruiser battles, and one of our pulse cruisers is not doing so well. So I guess going for 3 of them was in fact the correct thing to do.
Okay.
There goes one of theirs, and looks like there goes another one of theirs soon. I wonder if I brought enough artillery.
No, I think you're doing alright.
Yeah, I think so too. We're concentrating our fire pretty well now. It was a little too spread out early on.
Yeah, the thing is, some of the rebel cruisers have cloaking devices which cause them to take themselves out of the battle if they take too much damage.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those cloaking devices in these games.
Well, they are decent if you have enough repair modules to actually use them to take a breather, but these guys do not.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about auto repair, but that's actually a fairly smart move. And it looks like our frigates are actually doing a decent job here.
Well, yeah. They're not shooting at anything that's particularly fast.
Yeah. Well, that's how I ordered them as well. When you're sending in plasma artillery, you don't want it to target frigates or the space gods help you, fighters.
And looks like there's just that one guy left.
Yeah, so I was a little afraid that my plasma frigates wouldn't have enough punch, but it seems like they're doing pretty well for themselves. Oh, No, actually, I was concerned about this beam frigate being too far away, but it turns out it was just recharging.
Yeah, beam lasers are not the fastest firing weapons.
Yeah.
Anyway, kaboom.
Huh. Well, buy our victory mouse mats today.
So you lost 2 cruisers.
It looks like our fast missile launchers were not as effective as I thought.
Well, you didn't bring that many of them.
Oh yeah, but I think that's damage dealt per cost spent on them. And I don't think the plasma frigates were that bad. I think they at least wore down enemy defenses.
Well, everything's relative.
Yeah, it is all relative. They could all be great, and this is just the least great thing. Now, regarding the damage breakdown, this is a large chunk of damage that just bounced off our shields. I actually thought it would be a little bit higher, but their accuracy was even worse, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
Now for a word from our sponsors.
So, what do we got today?
Today, we got cruiser stuff again, so let's load a cruiser hull.
Did you actually unlock it?
Yes, I did actually unlock it. This is by EMP Tech.
Bored with conventional lasers? This highly focused electromagnetic pulse will knock out your enemy's fire control long enough for other ships to blast them to pieces. EMP, for people who want the lights off.
We've seen the enemy use those from time to time. They are, of course, at their most annoying when more than one or two ships use them. And when that happens, you want this item here. EMP Shield. Let's be honest, nobody likes having their ship disabled by an EMP cannon, and this handy collection of radars and gadgets defends you against this annoying possibility. I love how even in this very high-tech setting, they call these sorts of things gadgets and gizmos.
Mm-hmm.
Also, complete defense against EMP not guaranteed. Sorry, we're not going to make our own tech obsolete. We hope the customers will understand.
See. Okay, so what battle are we going to do next?
We're going to do expert mode, of course.
Ah, yes. So, let's see if we can do a repeat.
A repeat, but better.
Okay. So, who knows what they're gonna throw at us?
Who knows indeed. Let's throw in another plasma frigate just in case.
Okay.
So, here's the thing about honor currency. There's actually just plenty of room for honor. Like, you can pretty easily unlock just about everything partway through the game if you're undercutting the budget even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is playing for score, essentially, when you cut it down to really low-cost stuff and barely edge out a victory.
Yep, you want your fights to be as close as possible.
So, let's take a look at what their deployment is here. That's, let's see, a bunch of frontline frigates, a bunch of backline frigates. They're gonna try and sneak in on me. So, if my cruisers start getting pounded into dust early, I may need to adjust my formation.
I think you'll be fine.
Well, I appreciate your confidence.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't really use artillery frigates, so this is interesting to me.
Yeah, their DPS is not amazing, but they are very good at destroying enemy defenses early. They also kind of lure out anything that's given orders to attack frigates, if you're interested in that sort of play.
Okay, you've taken out most of their frigates, but...
Well, there's a few coming in on the side. The problem is it looks like we're going to face pretty much all their cruisers at once here. So I hope our DPS is up to it. Look at all that stuff bouncing off our shields.
Yeah, those are the frigate beams.
Yeah, and looks like some non-frigate beams as well. That cruiser's going to be in trouble when the shields go down. Like this one is. We are scoring some hits of our own, though, so it's not all bad.
But is it enough?
I'm considering giving the beam frigates here orders to attack anything that's hitting our the nearest cruiser. We might get better concentration of fire that way.
Oh boy.
Yep, there goes one. Of course, they're not doing so hot either.
Well, they have a lot of spare cruisers.
They do have a lot of spare cruisers, that is an issue. But our DPS with the pulsars is pretty good. And we're getting a lot of bounces off, so I think that when it comes to damage... Oh boy, never mind, things are changing a little bit. If you'll notice, this cruiser is attacking kind of stuff off to the side, which may not be the best thing.
Yep. Ah.
Ooh, there goes one. Well, I guess we'll have to hope that our artillery is good enough to make the difference here. Also, we got some weird shield behavior on occasion. I don't know if you noticed it, but sometimes when an attack hits the enemy shields, it shows armor minus something or hull minus something instead of...
Yeah, when shields are weakened enough, there is some bleed through.
And since shields are naturally weak on this map, well, that'll happen. And it looks like the enemy has come into the lead again, which is kind of a problem. Yeah, I think we're going to lose our last pulse cruiser here, and we're a little bit too badly outnumbered to sway the day. Like, 13,000 to 4,000 is a little bit much. Oh yeah, and you can see little escape pods coming out of the big ships when they blow up. That's pretty cool. Okay. It seems that our beam cruisers are not doing so well in this battle.
Yeah, we could try replacing them just with other pulse cruisers.
Yeah, but I'd like to try... I'd like to try giving them more cooperative orders first. And there is a specific order for that. Protector. Concentrate fire on enemy ships that are attacking a specific named ship. Yeah, orders to concentrate fire, pretty helpful in this game. There's also a direct control button, but you don't get any points for that.
Yeah, you have to admiral it up if you want to get your score up.
By the way, did I remember to double the speed last time? I probably didn't. But that's okay, there was a lot to analyze.
Yeah, let's do the play-by-play.
Alright, so let's see if we can defend our pulsars a little bit better this time. It might also be worth giving them EMP shields, because now we're starting to face more EMP cruisers here, especially considering how outnumbered we are. Well, looks like we are starting to concentrate fire a little bit better this time.
Yep.
And
okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, the first enemy cruiser kill came much earlier this time.
Yeah, unfortunately we are killing their frigates a little bit more slowly, so they're taking shots at our artillery. But that's kind of our lowest DPS anyway. Unfortunately, it looks like things might still not be going our way because of all that EMP. So it might be back to the drawing board. That's okay. That's pretty reasonable. We kind of swapped out a slot anyway, so we just need to replace it with something different.
Also, I don't think your beam cruisers are using the proton beam.
Yeah, I might try to order them to get a bit closer next time.
No, they aren't equipped with proton beams.
I'm fairly sure they are. Let me take a look.
Oh, okay. Alright.
So, let's go back to our pulse cruisers and take out that extra pulse gun. And let's see, switch a couple of things back. Let's use that EMP shield beam gizmo. Oh, that doesn't quite work out. We'll give him a purple beam instead. That works a little better.
Okay, let's see if this actually does anything.
Yeah, you can never trust those gizmos. Oop, wrong button. My apologies.
Yeah, this is really part of the process of gratuitous space battles.
Yeah, this is what I consider to be playing the game.
Yeah, because those small frigates are heavily armed but very fragile.
And slow, yeah. The slow part is probably worse. Because frigates are going to be fragile no matter what, but the slow ones, yeah, forget. That's like having slow fighters.
Anyway, you can see the benefits of the MP shield immediately.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, the EMP goes away much faster. Although, there's so many of them that I'm still disabled for a little bit. I think maybe an adjustment in formation would also be good.
Oh, looks like you lost the frigates this time, too.
Well, not all of them. There's still a few. That's why I spread them out a little bit. Looks like they got past the pulse cruiser, even though I kind of heavily favored it targeting frigates. I guess it just got moved a bit too far forward.
Yeah,
there.
looks like you did worse this time.
Yeah, there is a little bit of luck involved in these battles. Alright, so let's do that formation switching. Like so. And... I'm thinking that these plasma frigates might not be contributing enough, unfortunately. I don't think the enemy has much missile defense. So, if the enemy is overloaded with missile defense, then I might consider plasma artillery. But right now, let's bring a missile cruiser in and see if that changes anything.
Now, there are many possible solutions to this battle. The one I tend to stick by is actually using combat frigates, which is frigates set to escort and equipped with their closer range weapons.
Yeah. The only tricky thing about that is escort frigates tend not to move around a lot, so you need to cover them really well. Okay, it looks like we drew out the side frigates a lot earlier this time, and we're able to hit them a bit harder.
Yep.
And this prevents some of their beam laser harassment.
Yeah, the ones on the top have been completely wiped out.
Yeah. Looks like the lower ones are also taking a bunch of hits. It's getting pretty messy down there. Up top, it's so-so.
Well, you're still doing better this time.
Yeah. That's why changes in ship design are nice, but formation and orders are also a really big deal.
Well, you also replaced your frigates.
Yeah. And it looks like they're kind of bombarding one ship to the side, which is not my favorite thing. Ooh, okay. So it looks like things are looking okay up here. This Dauntless, I don't know what its orders are, but it's kind of running.
Let's see.
On the bottom, things are not looking so great. So what looks like it'll happen is they'll kind of collapse and the top will head down.
I think you'll be able to take it.
Yeah, I think so too. The missile artillery seems to be working out pretty well. I'm not sure these guys have any missile defense at all. It looks like outflanked, well, it is outflanked, but it's also tying up the enemy quite a bit.
Yeah, there goes another one.
There goes another one. Man, I'm a little surprised at how much damage that cruiser has taken and still has its shields up. That damage leak might have actually saved that ship. because of all the beams that are still bouncing off of it. Kaboom!
Okay, now there are just the 2 enemy ships left at the bottom.
Yep. So it looks like there is one ship that has...
yeah, their light cruisers have missile defense.
Yeah. Pretty weak missile defense. You need a point defense scanner or something to...
Ah, there you go.
Yep, there it is. It looks like a couple of them ran away after their weapons were destroyed. That's something that automatically happens unless they're given orders to take a last stand. And as usual, the Pulse Cruiser is the best damage-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much this was least effective compared to the Plasma frigates. It's probably better, though, for cost.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, once again, lots of shield bounce, and roughly the same amount of missing, but it looks like almost none of our stuff was deflected.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's because I tend to aim pretty heavily towards weapons that can get past those defensive hit points.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so, it took a little while, but it wouldn't really be authentic gameplay if we completed it all on the first try.
Correct.
So, next time we will try out those rebels. We'll see what their deal is, both lore-wise and gameplay-wise.
In so much as there is lore.
Oh, there's a little bit. It's fun. And we'll see how that develops next time.
Indeed.
Later.
See ya.